Hi, I'm here again with another Foundation Friday. It's been a little while, so I do apologize. What I have used today is the Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. Now, I did mean to only do half of my face, but I ended up putting it all over my entire face. It does feel really good, feels like face cream. In fact, the other day, before my day went completely out of control, I was going to do this video, and I put this on, and then life, happens. And puppy went crazy. There was all kinds of stuff going on. So I ended up not doing any foundation. Honestly, this felt really good on and didn't look funny. The fact that I didn't follow it up with foundation. So I did use the Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. I figured I'm going to try to keep brands together because I'm thinking they're meant to work together. So anyway, I used the Born This Way foundation, and this was like holy grail status for me. When I first got it, I didn't have a lot of other high ends. This is Warm Nude, which does look a little bit dark on my hand, but doesn't look dark on my face. And then I also used the Born This Way concealer, which I have to say does not have great coverage. Although I was able to set it with powder, I still look like I have dark circles. So I don't know, I may have to use a corrector before I use this, or I might just go straight to the Tarte Shape Tape, which works for me now. I'm gonna be doing a video about that. So, so if you want to see how this Foundation Friday starts out, then stay tuned and watch the video, and I will be checking in again later. Stay tuned. I did put the primer on already. It's very nice, moisturizing, almost like you could use it as a moisturizer. It's pretty nice. Anyway, I also have the Born This Way foundation, and my color is, what color are you? Warm Nude, which is fairly light but not too light color. So I have the Born This Way foundation, and I have the Born This Way concealer as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Foundation Friday. Oh, and this is in the color Light. Now, I got this pretty soon after it came out, so I'm sure it comes in different variations of light now. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just move some stuff around so I can do this. Not so easy when you've got other stuff you've got to do videos on and you have it all spread out on your vanity. This is the first chance that I've gotten where I didn't have too much going on, and so other than finishing up work for the day and having the puppy walking around chewing on his bed, he's just bored because he's tired of all the same toys. Oh well. But anyway, the Born This Way concealer, I'll put this on first. I think the stopper came out of this because it's I think it might be stuck up there in the cap. Let me see if I can get it to, if I screw it on really tight, maybe it'll go on. No, that didn't work. Oh well, I think I don't have a stopper. So anyway, I'm not sure, I haven't used this in a really long time, so I'm not sure what kind of coverage I'm going to get with it, or if it's like the if it's like my Tarte concealer where I end up with not having to use very much. I'm going to go ahead and use a concealer brush from Real Techniques because that's what's been working for me with the other under eye concealers, and so I'm going to go ahead and buff that in. Try not to put too much on or too heavy. I know it looks like it might be too light, but it's definitely not. I know from experience that once this blends in, and I have my foundation on, it will not be so god-awful bright. So it is awfully bright, isn't it? Anyway, I'm not sure if I put enough on or not. It looks like I do need more of this than I do the other under eye concealers that I've been using. I've been like consistently using this Tarte Shape Tape. I did manage to figure out how to make that work. I'm going to do a whole video at some point when there's time permitting. I'll do a video on that and how I managed to get it to not crease. The key is not to powder because it does dry. Okay, so I'll use my fingers for the rest. I just need a little bit more color here. I'll put a little swatch down my nose. Anybody out there who wears a CPAP, you know exactly what it's like when you wake up and your nose is a little bit on the red side. Okay, so that looks like it's blended in. I'll look in the super magnification enemy mirror. I don't know why, but my skin is, I think because of the weather, my skin is just acting really, really bad lately. And I woke up with really puffy eyes this morning, which I had hoped would resolve by now, but they haven't. But, you know, I did want to do another Foundation Friday for you guys. So here I am with my Born This Way, and it does have a pump. I just gave it a good shake already. I'll put that on the back of my hand, and you can see the color looks kind of dark, but it's really not dark on me, so it's like a mystery, like why does it look so good? So anyway, it looks dark as I'm plopping it on, but it's really not. So once it blends in, it looks like really nice on me. And I had felt like this was my holy grail, but I'm not sure anymore. Like, is it? I'm not really sure. Okay, so I'm going to use a blending brush from Real Techniques. Oh gosh, getting stuff all over. And not the typical real thick one that I usually use. This is a little bit less densely packed. And this one is, what are you called? I'll put the name down below. So, of all the brushes that I'm using. So anyway, I'll go ahead and start at the forehead. I'm gonna angle the mirror so I can see what I'm doing. A lot of times I forget and I don't put anything up this high, and like that's a kind of a mistake because then you look all patchy and weird. So, and also the eyebrow area, that's another spot that I commonly miss. Okay, so I do really have an overabundance of foundations now, so it's time. I've got a lot of Foundation Fridays to do for you guys. Plus I have a whole basket of new stuff, mostly Physicians Formula, that I'm going to be testing out for you also. Okay, so this looks okay. Now, super magnification mirror enemy. Here we go. Let's see if I missed any places. That actually really strokes on beautifully with a brush. And I don't see any places that I missed. So far so good. Stroked on really nicely with the brush. This particular brush, I'll set it aside so I can give you the names of both of those brushes I've used so far. And I did put the primer all over my face, so I meant to only do half of my face. If any of you have used this foundation with just like moisturizer on one side, let me know. But under eye looks pretty smooth. I don't know what's going to happen when I powder it, but I am going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. Okay, well, I feel really comfortable with this makeup on. I don't feel heavily made up. The only thing is that I do feel like the under eye concealer didn't do a lot for me. I still can see shadows, although I did set it with setting powder, and I don't see that it has settled too much into my fine lines. There is some settling going on here, but not severe. We'll see how this goes, you know, how this wears. I'm not going to use my usual Urban Decay all-nighter setting spray because not everybody has setting spray. I meant to only use this on one side of my face, but unfortunately I did use it on both, but it does just feel like your regular moisturizer after it's on. So anyway, I don't think you necessarily have to get the primer. You may not be a primer person, you might not like primer. A lot of people don't like primer. I've become a fan of primer. I used to hate primer. But anyway, primer. I've only said that about 50 times, and so I will be back for another check-in to show you how this wears. Currently, it's very smooth. Putting the magnification mirror on, it has settled into a couple of areas, like some of my pores, or it did settle into some pores. It didn't cover all discolorations that I have. But anyway, I will be back to check in and give you an update on how it looks. So currently it is, since I had to wait until after work today, it is 5:20 p.m. So I will try to give this until 10:20, 11 o'clock to do another update, just to talk about whether it wore well or not. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back, so don't go anywhere. And just in case I'm not, thanks for watching. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. There are lots of people who love to give those thumbs down. So anyway, I'll be back and I'll let you know how this wore. Okay, so here's my Foundation Friday check-in. Stayed up much later than I had planned to. It's about, wow, that can't be right. Let's see. It's almost 1 a.m. so I've had this makeup on since I believe it was 5:30, so I've had this on for almost an entire workday worth of time. Now, just looking at the magnification mirror, I can see that around my mouth it has worn away. I do have a new pimple that just started, so I'm hoping this is not stuff that's going to break me out. It hasn't caused that problem before. I do see some breakdown on my forehead, and I'm not a very oily person, so I don't know how this would be on oilier skin. But I do see some breakdown on my forehead, and some of that could have been me touching my forehead, but I'm not sure that this is the makeup that would last through an entire workday. And certainly not the under eye concealer, because that is like majorly breaking down under my eyes. So not the greatest under eye concealer either. So let me know what you think. Of course, everyone's skin is a little bit different, but this is not a grade A for me, so I would have to say I would give this a B. It looks good for the first few hours, but then it does start to break down, and that is both the foundation and the under eye concealer, Born This Way. So I don't know. Let me know what your experience has been if you have both of these products and you've tried using them both. But now I'm headed off to bed, and thank you for watching. This has been Mary with Reviewer's Diary with a grade B on this Born This Way foundation and concealer. Thank you and have a beautiful evening. Good night.